guys, what is up? Today I come to you with another weekly review of Gintama 2017, and we are at episode 318. And by the end of this episode, possibly like next week's episode, we can imagine getting an action episode. I'm not too sure, but I'm gonna keep a lookout for that. But this basically was the build up for next week. This episode was the build up, and we found like at least we've come to find something very important, especially with Oboro, which possibly may have shocked a lot of you, especially if you're an anime only viewer. Now we have where Gintoki and Katsura are still trying to come to terms with hearing the news of Yutsuro and how he was shoyo at one point. And if you think about it, it's a really hard pill for them to swallow, because think about it, the history they had with this man, from a mere child learning lessons from him. Then when they hear that he got taken away by the Naruku or the Tendoshu and was about to be killed, they went into war to go save their teacher, and eventually one of them had to kill him. And then they found out he's this man that wants utter destruction. You can just imagine what is going on in their heads right now. And you know, it left off with Katsura leaving Gintoki with a quote saying that I won't allow you to kill my teacher again. Now the way I interpret that is basically him saying, like, knowing their relationship and their history, it was him almost in a sense saying that I won't allow you to shoulder these burdens anymore, that you should share some of that with me, that you don't have to hold on to this past and grieve over it and suffer all alone in the dark. That's how I see it, because knowing like what these characters mean to each other, that's how I interpret it. So it goes on to where we see Kagura, where it kind of focused on Kagura. This episode I feel like focused on her the most, because she is going back to her home planet, Rakuyo. That's the title of this arc. So her going back to her home planet, which is basically a refugee abandonment planet, where anybody who needs to stay somewhere for a short time, even though this is not the best planet to live on, they will go there and then leave. So this is the planet she and her brother and her father all live prior to her leaving Earth, and then the family departing with each other. So she goes with Takasugi's subordinates and teammates to go to that planet in hopes that she will find her father and her brother, and somehow she'll be able to talk to them or do something. Because ever since we are introduced to Kagura's character way back in season 1, I believe in episode 4, you know, she came to planet Earth in hopes that she can, you know, find her own way, and also if she can find someone that she can relate to or find a family of her own, which she did through Gintoki and Shinpachi and Sadaharu, the odd jobs. So, and we also knew she always wanted to patch up things with her family, with her father and her brother. So to see how much she has grown since then to now, it was only a matter of time before she actually acted upon her plan, her goal, and tried to fix things between the family. And what better way is to go back to the place of birth for her. So it also goes into where we see Umibozu and Yutsuro, and they were talking. Umibozu interrupted a meeting that Yutsuro was having, telling him, you know, that the 7th division of the Harusame was destroyed, and it was basically both of them wanted destroyed, but for different reasons. Umibozu, on one hand, he wanted to destroy the Harusame because he feels like they would infiltrate with his plans. Now, his plans are including to destroy a lot of things, first with the elders of the Tendoshu, and then he's possibly going to go to other places to destroy them. And for Umibozu's sake, he wants to destroy the 7th division because his son was in it. Now that seems messed up, but listen, the reason why he wanted to destroy the 7th division was he was trying to save his son from facing defeat by Yutsuro's hand. Now, if, say for the sake, Yutsuro was the one to actually go and destroy the 7th division, and word gets fast to Umibozu, How would Umibozu react to that? Now, possibly some viewers may think that Umibozu does not care for his child and that he may be out for his blood. But even despite the bad blood that they have with each other, Umibozu is not a careless man towards his family. He cares deeply for his children, despite what he's going through, especially with his son Kamui, okay? And he knows that his daughter Kagura, remember, the words he told Gintoki way back in season 1, I can't even remember the episode, he was basically telling Gintoki to take care of his daughter. He left his daughter in Gintoki's hands. That goes to show you that he cares for his kids. And he rather, as the father, kill his own children before another man who seeks to destroy everything in his path does so. So I can't blame the man for wanting to do something like that. You can't blame him either. And he was basically telling Yusuro, you know, mind your own business. Don't get into my business and I won't get into your business. And if that's the case, and if you still want to go for it, then we're going to have a problem. Now, concerning with Oboro, I know some people have been wondering, how was he able to survive exactly, especially from the courtesan arc that we saw back in Chosen. Now, this episode actually explains to us how he was able to survive. Remember, he was impaled by Gintoki's wooden sword, and we saw him survive after that. So it was like, okay, this guy must be some immortal being or something, because getting impaled by that, basically through the chest where a whole heap of blood could have just drained out and you're dead, you know, this man comes right back up perfectly fine, no injuries, nothing. Now, actually, it was explained where we see actually he has died multiple times, first of all, but yet he was able to come back, and that's due to Yusuro's blood. Remember, they said that back in last week's episode, they said Yusuro was born from the Altana on Earth, and as I interpret it, the Altana is like a life energy. It's like a life energy, and it's something that possibly may give certain individuals immortality. And since he was born basically from it, he has been living for over 500 years. And of course, Yutsuro, and the way they explained this episode, Oboro has history with Yutsuro. Yutsuro at one point saved Oboro's life, allowing him to live. But of course, since Oboro has a human body, it has some flashbacks to the blood of Yutsuro. Now, his body was supposed to already, die and, decompose and turn to dust and everything. But because he keeps receiving blood from Yutsuro, especially with the blood that he has already received from him, it allows him to live longer. So that's how he's able to survive so many times. But what we saw in the opening, there may be something, a sad past of Oboro's that we're going to see later in this arc. So we finally see where the 7th Division is. At least most of the members from the 7th Division is okay after their ship being blown to bits in space. And also, prior to that, we see where Gintoki and them, knowing that Kagura is going to space, going back to her home planet, Gintoki, Katsura, Shinpachi, and Sakamoto, who, very fitting that he's in this arc because he was part of the Joy 4. So, it's very fitting that he's going to be here to save Takasugi as well, because he has no problems with Takasugi. Because he doesn't have as much history as the other 3, but he has enough from the war they're on. So I can see why he has been put into this arc, and he's going to be there as well, going to Kagura's home planet in hopes to find Takasugi there. Now, they are stopped in space by Nobunobu. Nobunobu knows exactly what's going on and where they're planning to go. So he's hoping to kill them off while they're in space, not knowing that these are the same guys, at least Gintoki, the same one who infiltrated the government and took down the government. And they went into his ship and beat the hell out of everyone in there, and basically took him hostage and told the rest of his retainers to turn back and go back to planet Earth, and we'll keep him here. So, of course, he's knocked out once again by Banzai. Banzai is okay. And so they actually join forces. So Takasugi's group and, Gintoki's group are joining forces in hopes that they can find Takasugi. And like I said, Takasugi's on Rakuyo, and of course we see where Obito is perfectly fine, and he comes to find Umibozu, who is there. So him being there, there is a possibility that Kamui may be there, because there's no other reason for Umibozu to be back on his home planet. So a huge battle is going to go down. This was a perfect setup episode for what we're going to see, and we're going to see further on what's going to happen, like between Umibozu and Obito, and what happens when Kagura and Gintoki and the others arrives on that planet as well. So if you guys saw this week's episode of Gintama 2017, episode 318, do drop a comment down below. I would like to pose a question. If you are listening to or hearing any news from like Japanese anime websites or the such, if you're very fluent in Japanese, that is, how much episodes would this arc in particularly have? Because right after this arc, it's basically going to catch up what's currently happening in the manga. So my guess is possibly maybe 12 to 24 episodes, and then going to pause it and then recontinue it later this year, because fillers wouldn't really work for this series right now at this point, because fillers are known to be quite hilarious for Gintama, and I guess not a lot of people would have known they were fillers unless they look it up. But if you have any news in regarding that, like how much episodes this series would have, I would love for you to tell me down below, because I want to know for sure, and so that way I can inform the viewers of this series. But nonetheless, I'm Kimmy-chan of Anime Legends Podcast. The links are in the description box as always, and I will see you guys later. Bye!